Have you ever wondered why some people command respect the moment they walk into a room without even uttering a word? It's not charisma alone. It's a mastery of silent actions. The world often teaches us that loud voices, bold declarations, and constant self-promotion are the keys to being valued. But what if that's a misconception? Consider this. Silence can be more powerful than words. Through quiet, intentional actions, you can convey strength, wisdom, and trustworthiness in a way that leaves a lasting impression. The ability to inspire others and build deep, stoic relationships doesn't require grand gestures or flashy speeches. It's about mastering the art of influence through subtlety. In this guide, we'll explore 10 silent actions that, when mastered, will make others value you more. Each principle is rooted in timeless wisdom, including the insights of Stoicism, and will empower you to cultivate a calm, commanding presence. These aren't mere tricks, they're transformative practices that speak to your character, emotional intelligence, and inner strength. So, how do you start? What small, powerful shifts can you make today to profoundly impact how others see you? Let's begin by diving into the first silent action. 1. Master the power of observation. Have you ever paused to consider how much of life happens in the spaces between words? Observation, the ability to notice and truly see the unspoken details around you, is a quiet yet transformative power. Mastering this silent action can fundamentally shift how others perceive and value, often in ways you don't immediately realize. At its core, observation is about presence. In a world dominated by noise, constant chatter, digital distractions, and the rush to speak louder than the next person, those who are calm, attentive observers stand out. They understand that most communication isn't verbal, it's physical, emotional, and contextual. These subtle layers often tell you more than spoken words ever could. Imagine walking into a room and instantly noticing the dynamics. Who's nervous, who's confident, who's disengaged. What would it mean for your relationships if you could pick up on the unspoken feelings of those around you and respond in a way that truly resonates with them? Observation is more than noticing, it's about interpreting what you see and understanding the layers beneath. This skill aligns perfectly with Stoicism, a philosophy centered on cultivating awareness and control. A Stoic doesn't rush to judge or react, instead they quietly observe, gathering insight before taking deliberate action. How often do we truly see the people and situations around us without judgment clouding our perception? Developing this ability takes discipline and humility. But observation isn't just about others, it's also about self-awareness. How do people react when you walk into a room? Do they seem at ease, or do they withdraw? Observation starts with understanding yourself, how you carry your energy, and how it affects those around you. Becoming attuned to these subtleties builds a deeper connection with others because you can adjust your approach to meet their needs. A powerful exercise in observation is to enter any situation with the sole goal of noticing without responding. Observe body language, a tense jaw, crossed arms, or a nervous tapping foot. Listen for tone shifts in conversation. Does their voice soften when they feel understood? Or does it grow sharper when they're defensive? Pay attention to the environment. What is the mood of the room? What are people not saying that might be more important than their words? Observation isn't passive, it requires engagement and focus. It's about looking deeper, noticing what others miss, and processing it with empathy. For example, you may notice a colleague looking tired or distracted during a meeting. Instead of ignoring it, you might quietly check in with them later, showing you've noticed and care. Small gestures like this, born of keen observation, build trust and respect. This is where Stoic relationships come alive. When you observe without immediate judgment or the need to insert yourself, you create space for others to feel valued and understood. You demonstrate emotional intelligence by reading the room and knowing when to act or when to simply hold space for someone. These actions, though silent, speak volumes about your character. It's important to understand that mastering observation doesn't mean prying or being overly analytical. It's about cultivating awareness while respecting boundaries. Observation should never feel intrusive. It should feel like a gift you offer others, the gift of being seen. In many ways, observation is a lost art. We're so quick to react, to speak, to scroll past moments that beg for our attention. Yet, those who cultivate this skill embody a rare calmness and confidence. Their presence alone reassures others that they're being noticed in a meaningful way. So what's the next step in mastering this skill? Practice intentional silence. Allow others to fill the gaps in conversation. Pay attention to what's happening, both outwardly and inwardly, before reacting. As you develop this habit, you'll find that people naturally gravitate to you. They'll sense your attentiveness, your ability to see them fully, and your genuine care. Ultimately, observation isn't just about watching, it's about understanding. And when you understand, you create connections that are deeper, stronger, and more enduring. The value of this skill cannot be overstated. By becoming a master of observation, you lay the foundation for being someone others value deeply, someone whose quiet strength leaves a lasting impact. 2. Practice active listening without interrupting. Have you ever been in a conversation where you felt truly heard? It's rare, isn't it? Most of us are used to talking over one another, waiting for our turn to speak rather than genuinely listening. Yet the ability to listen actively and without interruption is one of the most powerful silent actions you can master to make others value you deeply. Active listening isn't just about hearing words, it's about creating a space where the speaker feels understood, respected, and validated. When was the last time you gave someone your full attention? No distractions, no planning your response in your head, just pure focus on their words and emotions. Think about this. When you interrupt someone, even with good intentions, it sends a subtle message that their thoughts are less important than yours. But when you let them finish, when you nod, maintain eye contact, and give affirming gestures, you communicate something extraordinary. I value your voice. This principle is deeply rooted in Stoicism, which teaches us to approach others with humility and patience. A Stoic listens not to argue but to understand, recognizing that every person has a perspective shaped by their unique experiences. When you practice this form of listening, you're not just hearing words, you're absorbing meaning, emotions, and intent. Imagine how this could transform your relationships. Picture a friend confiding in you about a difficult decision. Instead of offering solutions right away, you stay silent, letting them pour out their thoughts. You nod subtly, maybe echo a word or two to show you're engaged. When they're done, they look at you with a mixture of surprise and gratitude, realizing you didn't interrupt or judge, you simply listened. Why is this so impactful? Because in a world full of noise, silence becomes a rare gift. When you practice active listening, you're doing more than just being polite. You're demonstrating respect, empathy, and an awareness that few people possess. But active listening isn't always easy. Our minds are wired to react, to solve problems, or to jump in with our own stories. Resisting this urge requires practice and self-discipline. Start by asking yourself, why am I tempted to interrupt? Is it to prove something, to share my opinion, or to take control of the conversation? Often, simply recognizing this impulse is enough to redirect it. Here's another tip. Practice the art of reflecting back what you've heard. For example, if someone shares their frustration about work, you might say, "It sounds like you're feeling overwhelmed because of all the deadlines." This small act of acknowledgement shows you're not just listening, you're truly processing and empathizing. Active listening also strengthens Stoic relationships because it fosters trust. When people know they can talk to you without being interrupted or dismissed, they begin to see you as a safe and reliable presence. Over time, this quiet consistency builds a foundation of respect and admiration. Even in challenging situations like disagreements, active listening can be transformative. Instead of immediately defending your point of view, take a step back and listen fully to the other person. This doesn't mean you have to agree, but it shows maturity and control, both hallmarks of Stoicism. And often, when people feel heard, they become more open to hearing you in return. Now, let me ask you, when was the last time you gave someone the gift of uninterrupted listening? Think about the impact it had on them and on you. Did it deepen the connection? Did it make them feel valued? This simple yet profound act has the power to change not only your relationships but also the way others perceive you. If you've made it this far, I hope you're starting to see how something as subtle as listening can create massive shifts in how others value you. And if you're enjoying this journey into mastering silent actions, don't forget to show your support. Like this video and comment number 1 if you're finding it valuable so far. Your engagement helps this message reach more people who want to build deeper, more meaningful connections. And of course, if you're ready to keep growing and learning, subscribe to the channel for more insights like this. Together, we'll explore practical wisdom rooted in Stoicism that can transform the way you approach relationships and life. 3. Develop a strong presence without saying a word. Have you ever noticed how some people can walk into a room and instantly command attention without speaking? Their presence alone makes others stop, take notice, and even feel a sense of respect. This isn't magic, it's the result of mastering subtle, nonverbal cues that exude confidence and composure. Developing a strong presence without relying on words begins with understanding how you present yourself to the world. It's about the energy you carry, the way you move, and the silent messages your body language conveys. Do you carry yourself with intention, or do you fade into the background? Are you projecting confidence, or are you inadvertently signaling doubt? A powerful presence starts with posture. Stand tall, with your shoulders relaxed but back, your chin slightly lifted, and your gaze steady. This isn't just about looking good, it's about feeling grounded and stable. When you adopt an open and upright posture, you not only appear confident to others, but also send signals to your brain that reinforce feelings of self-assurance. Your movements also play a crucial role in your presence. Slow, deliberate gestures suggest calmness and control, while hurried or erratic movements can give the impression of nervousness or insecurity. A Stoic approach to presence emphasizes being deliberate. Every action, no matter how small, should carry purpose. When you reach for something, walk across a room, or shake someone's hand, do it with intention. Eye contact is another cornerstone of a strong presence. When you meet someone's gaze, you signal that you are engaged and confident. But eye contact should never feel forced or overbearing. It's about finding a balance that feels natural and respectful. For instance, when listening to someone, maintain eye contact to show you're fully present, but look away occasionally to avoid appearing intense or confrontational. Equally important is the energy you project. Are you calm and composed, or do you carry tension that others can sense? Presence isn't just about physicality, it's about your inner state. If your mind is restless, if you're preoccupied or anxious, it will show in subtle ways. Stoicism teaches us to cultivate an inner tranquility that radiates outward. By practicing mindfulness and focusing on what you can control, you develop a centeredness that others instinctively respect. Silence itself can be a tool for building presence. In moments of stillness, when others might feel the need to fill the space with words, remaining calm and quiet demonstrates confidence. It shows that you're not uncomfortable with the pause, and it allows others to focus more on your actions and demeanor than on your words. Consider how this plays out in group settings. A person with a strong presence doesn't need to dominate a conversation to make an impact. Instead, they listen carefully, contribute thoughtfully, and allow their nonverbal cues, posture, expressions, and energy to communicate their confidence. Your appearance also contributes to your presence, but not in the superficial sense. Dressing with intentionality, choosing clothes that reflect who you are and respect the occasion, sends a silent message about your self-respect and awareness. When you look polished and put together, you naturally feel more confident, and others pick up on that. But developing a strong presence goes beyond physicality. It's about how you make others feel. When you carry yourself with quiet confidence, people feel more at ease around you. They sense your steadiness, your ability to remain composed under pressure, and your respect for yourself and others. This creates an unspoken connection, a feeling of trust and admiration that words alone can't achieve. Presence isn't about perfection, it's about authenticity. It's not about pretending to be something you're not. It's about embracing who you are and letting that shine through. When you stop trying to prove yourself and start focusing on simply being, your presence naturally grows stronger. Ask yourself, what kind of energy do I want to bring into a room? What silent messages am I sending through my posture, eye contact, and movements? By reflecting on these questions and aligning your actions with the person you want to be, you'll develop a presence that speaks louder than words ever could. Mastering this silent action is a journey, not a destination. Each time you enter a space with awareness and intention, you reinforce the foundation of your presence. Over time, you'll find that others naturally value and respect you, not because of what you say, but because of who you are and how you carry yourself. 4. Let your actions speak louder than words. Have you ever noticed that the people we respect the most are often those who don't talk about their greatness? They simply demonstrate it. Actions have an unparalleled power to convey authenticity, reliability, and strength. While words can be fleeting, what you do leaves a lasting imprint on how others perceive and value you. This principle is simple yet profound. Let your actions do the talking. In a world where people frequently overpromise and underdeliver, being someone who follows through is a rare and admirable trait. Think about it. How often do people make commitments they don't keep, whether it's a small promise to a friend or a major responsibility at work? When you consistently deliver on what you say you will, you stand out as someone dependable and trustworthy. But letting your actions speak louder than words isn't just about fulfilling obligations. It's about acting with intention and integrity, even when no one is watching. Imagine how powerful it is to quietly work toward your goals without seeking attention or validation. When you achieve them, people will notice, and they'll respect the quiet determination that got you there. Consider this. How often do you announce your plans before you've even started working on them? It's tempting to share your ambitions with others, but Stoicism teaches us to focus on action rather than talk. A Stoic understands that speaking of what you will do holds far less weight than showing what you've done. By acting first and speaking later, you demonstrate a strength of character that commands respect. Think about the impact this can have on your relationships. For example, instead of repeatedly telling a loved one you'll change or improve, show them through consistent actions. Let them see your growth rather than hear empty promises. Over time, this approach builds trust and admiration. Letting your actions speak also applies to how you handle challenges. When faced with adversity, how do you respond? Do you complain and broadcast your struggles, or do you quietly persevere? People value those who face difficulties with resilience and grace, not because they hide their struggles, but because they confront them with a calm determination. At its heart, this principle is about leading by example. You don't have to tell others to work hard, be kind, or act with integrity. If you're consistently embodying those traits yourself, your actions will inspire others more than any speech ever could. But this doesn't mean you should shy away from communicating your values or intentions when appropriate. The key is to back your words with actions. If you say you care about someone, show it. If you promise to help, follow through. When your words and actions align, you build credibility and foster deeper connections. Think about how you can apply this in your daily life. At work, rather than announcing how busy or productive you are, let your results speak for themselves. In friendships, instead of telling someone how much they mean to you, take time to support and show up for them. These silent actions don't just speak, they resonate. Now, let's take a moment to reflect. Are you someone whose actions consistently align with their words? What silent statements are your behaviors making about who you are? By taking ownership of this principle, you'll find that others naturally begin to value you more, not because of what you say, but because of what you do. If this message resonates with you, let's keep this momentum going. Show your support by liking this video and commenting number 1 to let us know you're inspired to take action. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel for more insights that will help you master silent actions, build stoic relationships, and live with purpose. Your journey to becoming someone others deeply value starts here. 5. Control your reactions and stay composed. One of the most defining qualities of a person who is deeply valued by others is their ability to remain composed under pressure. In a world where impulsive reactions are the norm, those who can maintain control over their emotions stand out as beacons of stability and strength. This quiet, composed demeanor speaks volumes about their character and earns the respect of those around them. Why is this so powerful? Because emotional composure shows that you are in control, not just of the situation, but of yourself. People are naturally drawn to individuals who exude calmness, especially in moments of stress or uncertainty. When others lose their temper, panic, or lash out, a composed person becomes a source of reassurance and leadership. Stoicism provides invaluable wisdom on this subject. One of its core teachings is that we don't control external events, only our response to them. By focusing on what lies within your control, you can cultivate a sense of inner peace that remains unshaken by external chaos. Imagine being in a heated argument but choosing not to raise your voice or retaliate. Instead, you pause, breathe, and respond thoughtfully. This choice demonstrates emotional intelligence and earns trust. Composure doesn't mean suppressing your emotions or pretending not to feel. It's about acknowledging your emotions without letting them dictate your actions. For example, when someone criticizes you unfairly, your initial instinct might be to defend yourself or lash out. But what if, instead, you took a moment to reflect? What if you responded with curiosity rather than anger, asking questions to understand their perspective? This approach not only diffuses tension but also shows maturity and strength. Controlling your reactions is also about being mindful of the energy you bring into a situation. Are you escalating a conflict or are you de-escalating it? Are you adding to the noise or are you bringing clarity and calm? Every choice you make in a moment of tension speaks volumes about your character. This principle applies not only in moments of conflict but also in everyday challenges. For instance, when plans go awry or unexpected obstacles arise, how do you respond? Do you complain and point fingers, or do you adapt and find solutions? People value those who can face difficulties with grace and resilience, as it shows a depth of character that inspires trust and admiration. Think about how this principle plays out in your relationships. When a loved one is upset, how do you respond? Do you mirror their frustration, or do you offer a calming presence? Being composed doesn't mean ignoring their emotions, it means creating a space where they feel safe to express themselves without fear of escalation. This kind of emotional stability strengthens Stoic relationships and deepens trust. Mastering composure also involves practicing patience. Sometimes the best response is no response at all, at least not right away. When emotions run high, taking a step back to process your thoughts can prevent regretful words or actions. This pause allows you to act with intention rather than impulse. It's important to note that maintaining composure isn't about being emotionless. It's about being emotionally intelligent. It's about knowing when to speak and when to stay silent, when to engage and when to let go. This balance comes from self-awareness and a commitment to personal growth. So how can you start mastering this silent action? Begin by observing your reactions. Pay attention to moments when you feel triggered and ask yourself, what am I really feeling right now? Why am I reacting this way? Simply pausing to reflect can prevent you from being swept away by emotion. Over time, this practice of self-regulation becomes second nature. You'll notice that others begin to look to you as a source of stability, someone who remains steady even in turbulent times. They'll value your ability to bring calm and clarity to situations, and they'll respect the quiet strength you embody. Controlling your reactions is about more than managing your emotions, it's about shaping the way others perceive you. When you remain composed, you demonstrate a level of self-mastery that is rare and deeply admirable. And it's this quiet resilience that makes others value you in ways that words alone never could. 6. Display subtle kindness and thoughtfulness. Kindness is a universal language, but the most powerful acts of kindness are often the ones that go unnoticed by the world. It's the small, subtle gestures, the ones you don't broadcast, that leave a lasting impression on others. Subtle kindness isn't about grand displays. It's about showing thoughtfulness in ways that make people feel valued and seen. Think about it. When was the last time someone did something unexpectedly kind for you? A small, genuine act that came without expectation or announcement. Those are the moments that stick with us, and they're the ones that make us value others deeply. Subtle kindness is rooted in observation and empathy. When you notice someone is struggling, do you take the time to help, even if it's inconvenient for you? It could be as simple as offering a hand to carry something heavy, sharing a comforting word, or taking the time to really listen when someone needs to talk. These actions may seem small, but their impact is profound because they're unexpected and sincere. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of acting with virtue and compassion, not for recognition but because it aligns with our values. Kindness, when practiced quietly, reflects inner strength and integrity. It shows that you don't need validation to do the right thing, you do it because it's who you are. For example, imagine you're in a group setting and someone seems left out of the conversation. Subtle kindness could mean engaging them with a simple question or comment that brings them into the fold. It doesn't take much effort, but it shows thoughtfulness and makes that person feel included. Or consider moments when someone close to you is stressed. Instead of trying to fix their problem, subtle kindness might mean being present, offering a small gesture like making them a cup of coffee, or just giving them the space to breathe. These quiet actions demonstrate care without overshadowing the other person's experience. The beauty of subtle kindness lies in its selflessness. It's not about showing off or expecting anything in return. It's about being attuned to the needs of others and responding in meaningful ways. People value those who consistently show up in small but significant ways because it builds trust and deepens connections over time. Subtle kindness also has a ripple effect. When you show thoughtfulness to others, they're more likely to pass it on, creating a culture of care and mutual respect. Whether it's in your family, workplace, or community, these quiet acts of compassion can transform relationships and environments. In Stoic relationships, subtle kindness becomes a foundation for deeper bonds. When you consistently act with consideration and empathy, people feel safe and valued in your presence. Over time, these actions demonstrate that your care is genuine, not transactional. Now, let's talk about how you can integrate subtle kindness into your daily life. Start by paying attention. What do the people around you need that they might not be asking for? Maybe a colleague is overwhelmed with deadlines. Could you offer to help with a small task? Perhaps a friend hasn't reached out in a while. Could you send a simple message to check in? These actions require little effort but have a significant impact. It's also important to practice kindness toward those who may not expect it. Compliment a stranger, hold the door for someone, or let someone go ahead of you in line. These small gestures cost you nothing but can brighten someone's day in ways you might not even realize. Finally, remember that subtle kindness includes being kind to yourself. Taking care of your own needs, setting boundaries, and showing yourself compassion are essential parts of cultivating kindness for others. When you're grounded and balanced, you're better able to extend thoughtfulness to those around you. If this message resonates with you, let's continue spreading kindness together. Like this video and comment number 1 if you're inspired to practice subtle acts of kindness in your own life. And if you're ready to keep growing and exploring ways to make others value you, subscribe to the channel for more insights on stoicism, relationships, and personal growth. Together, we can create a ripple effect of thoughtfulness that changes lives, one small act at a time. 7. Respect personal boundaries and space. One of the most understated yet impactful ways to make others value you is by respecting their personal boundaries and space. In an age where lines between personal and public life often blur, being mindful of these unspoken limits sets you apart as someone considerate and emotionally intelligent. Respect for boundaries communicates a profound understanding of others' autonomy and builds trust in ways that words cannot. Imagine how it feels when someone respects your boundaries without needing to be told. It creates a sense of safety and comfort, doesn't it? Now consider the reverse. When someone intrudes on your space or dismisses your limits, it can feel suffocating and disrespectful. The way we navigate this delicate balance says a lot about our character and how much we value the people around us. To respect boundaries effectively, the first step is to be observant and attuned to subtle cues. Not everyone explicitly states their limits, but their body language, tone, or behavior often reveals them. For example, if someone appears withdrawn or avoids certain topics, it's a signal to tread lightly. Being mindful of these unspoken signs shows that you're paying attention and care about their comfort. Respecting boundaries isn't about walking on eggshells or avoiding engagement, It's about creating space for people to express themselves freely. When someone knows you won't overstep their limits or pressure them into uncomfortable situations, they feel safe sharing their thoughts and emotions with you. This safety is the foundation of healthy relationships, especially in Stoic relationships where mutual respect and understanding are paramount. One of the most important aspects of respecting boundaries is practicing active listening. When someone communicates their needs, whether explicitly or subtly, take them seriously. If a friend says they need time alone, resist the urge to interpret it as rejection or push for more interaction. Instead, acknowledge their request and honor it. By doing so, you show that you value their needs as much as your own. It's also crucial to remember that boundaries vary from person to person. What feels comfortable to one individual might feel invasive to another. This is where empathy comes into play. Put yourself in their shoes and consider how you would feel if someone crossed a similar boundary with you. This perspective helps you navigate interactions with greater sensitivity. Respecting physical space is another key element. Personal space preferences differ across cultures and individuals, but maintaining a respectful distance in physical interactions conveys attentiveness and consideration. For instance, in conversations, be mindful of how close you stand and observe whether the other person steps back or leans in. These small adjustments show that you're aware of their comfort level. In digital spaces, respecting boundaries is equally important. Avoid bombarding someone with messages or expecting immediate responses. Recognize that people have different capacities for interaction and may need time before they can engage. Respecting this digital space is a modern extension of valuing their autonomy. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our own actions and responses. Respecting boundaries aligns perfectly with this principle. You cannot control how others set or communicate their limits, but you can control how you respond to them. By doing so with humility and grace, you embody the Stoic ideal of treating others with dignity and fairness. Respect for boundaries isn't just about others, it's also about setting and honoring your own limits. When you establish boundaries for yourself, you teach others how to treat you. This mutual understanding fosters stronger, more balanced relationships where both parties feel respected and valued. Ask yourself, how often do I pause to consider someone else's boundaries before acting? Do I listen carefully when someone expresses their needs, or do I sometimes overlook them in my eagerness to connect? Reflecting on these questions can help you cultivate a deeper awareness of how your actions affect others. By respecting boundaries, you create an environment where trust and connection flourish. People feel valued when they know their autonomy is acknowledged, and they'll naturally come to value you more in return. This quiet yet powerful act of consideration speaks volumes about your character and leaves a lasting impression that goes beyond words. 8. Use silence as a tool for influence. Silence is one of the most underrated tools of influence. In a world where people rush to fill every moment with noise, the ability to embrace silence can set you apart as someone confident, thoughtful, and in control. When used intentionally, silence isn't just the absence of speech, it becomes a powerful statement that communicates presence, focus, and authority. Imagine being in a conversation where someone pauses instead of immediately responding. That brief silence can hold immense weight. It allows them to gather their thoughts, signals that they are truly considering what was said, and creates a moment of anticipation for their response. Silence in this way commands attention and respect without ever uttering a word. In Stoicism, silence is often seen as a way to maintain composure and avoid unnecessary conflict. By refraining from impulsive reactions, you create space to think clearly and respond with intention. This approach not only benefits you but also influences how others perceive you. When you choose silence over hasty words, you demonstrate emotional intelligence and self-discipline, qualities that naturally draw people to value you. But how do you use silence effectively? It begins with mindfulness. Pay attention to situations where silence could be more impactful than speaking. For example, in heated discussions, instead of jumping to defend yourself or retaliate, try pausing. This moment of quiet disarms others, giving them time to reflect on their words and often diffusing the tension. Silence can also be a tool for showing respect. When someone is sharing something important, remaining quiet and attentive communicates that you're fully present and engaged. This kind of listening, without interruptions or distractions, creates a safe space for others to express themselves, fostering trust and strengthening relationships. In negotiations or decision-making scenarios, silence can be a strategic tool. When you remain quiet after presenting an idea or proposal, it puts the ball in the other person's court. The silence compels them to fill the void, often revealing more than they intended. This subtle use of silence demonstrates confidence and can shift the dynamics in your favor. However, using silence effectively requires balance. It's not about being aloof or unresponsive, it's about being intentional. Silence should serve a purpose, whether it's to listen more deeply, allow reflection, or convey authority. Misusing silence, by withholding communication or ignoring someone, can have the opposite effect, creating distance and mistrust. Silence is also a form of self-expression. It shows that you're comfortable with yourself and don't feel the need to constantly assert your presence. People are naturally drawn to those who exude quiet confidence because it suggests depth and self-assurance. By embracing silence, you create a sense of mystery and intrigue that compels others to value your perspective. A great way to practice the art of silence is to integrate it into your daily interactions. For instance, the next time you're asked a question, pause before answering. This brief silence shows that you're giving the question genuine thought, rather than responding reflexively. Similarly, when listening to someone, resist the urge to interject or rush them along. Instead, allow moments of quiet to linger, creating a more meaningful exchange. Silence also plays a critical role in Stoic relationships. By choosing your words carefully and allowing silence to fill unnecessary gaps, you create a dynamic where communication feels intentional and respectful. This approach fosters mutual understanding and eliminates misunderstandings caused by thoughtless or reactive speech. Ask yourself, how often do I embrace silence in my conversations and decisions? Am I using it as a tool to create impact? Or do I rush to fill it out of discomfort? By reflecting on these questions, you can begin to harness the power of silence as a form of influence and connection. Silence isn't about absence, it's about presence. It's about creating space for meaningful interactions and thoughtful actions. When you master the art of silence, you'll find that it not only transforms how others value you, but also deepens your relationships and strengthens your inner calm. 9. Dress and groom with intentionality. How you present yourself to the world speaks volumes before you even say a word. Dressing and grooming with intentionality is a silent action that demonstrates self-respect, awareness, and thoughtfulness. While appearances are often dismissed as superficial, they play a significant role in how others perceive you, and more importantly, how you feel about yourself. Intentionality in your appearance doesn't mean following trends or investing in expensive clothing. It's about understanding the subtle messages your style and grooming choices send. Are you presenting yourself as someone who is organized, confident, and respectful of the occasion? Or are you inadvertently signaling carelessness or indifference? Imagine walking into a room and seeing someone well-dressed with clean, polished shoes and a posture that exudes confidence. You instinctively perceive them as someone who takes themselves seriously. This perception influences how you interact with them, often setting the tone for a more respectful and positive engagement. Now imagine the opposite, a disheveled appearance, mismatched clothes, and slouched posture. It sends an entirely different message, often one of neglect or lack of attention to detail. This is where intentionality becomes essential. Dressing appropriately for your environment shows that you are mindful of the context and considerate of others. Whether it's a professional meeting, a casual gathering, or a formal event, tailoring your appearance to the situation conveys that you value the time and presence of those around you. However, the impact of intentional grooming and attire extends beyond external impressions. It also influences your internal state. When you look in the mirror and see yourself dressed purposefully, it boosts your confidence and reinforces a sense of self-worth. This quiet confidence radiates outward, making others naturally value you more. The principles of Stoicism align closely with this concept. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control and to act with dignity in all aspects of life. Your appearance is one of the few things entirely within your control. By taking time to care for it, you embody the Stoic ideal of living intentionally and projecting respect for yourself and others. Intentionality in grooming also means paying attention to the details. A clean haircut, well-maintained nails, or polished shoes might seem minor, but these small touches collectively communicate a great deal. They show that you're attentive to your presentation, which translates into perceptions of reliability and responsibility. But dressing and grooming intentionally doesn't mean compromising authenticity. It's not about conforming to someone else's standard of style. It's about finding a look that reflects who you are while still respecting the context. Whether your style is classic, modern, or casual, the key is to make deliberate choices that align with your identity and the environment you're in. I think of this principle as an extension of your nonverbal communication. Just as your posture or eye contact conveys confidence and respect, so does your appearance. When you present yourself with care, you send a silent yet powerful message. I respect myself, and I respect the people and situations I'm engaging with. It's also worth noting that intentionality in appearance doesn't require perfection. Everyone has off days, and there's no need to obsess over every detail. The goal is not to be flawless, but to consistently show up in a way that reflects thoughtfulness and self-respect. Ask yourself, how does my appearance reflect my values and the impression I want to leave on others? Am I dressing and grooming in a way that aligns with the respect I aim to show myself and those around me? These reflections can guide you toward making intentional choices that elevate how others perceive and value you. Dressing and grooming with intentionality isn't about vanity, it's about communication. It's a silent action that sets the tone for how others engage with you and reinforces the confidence you carry within. By mastering this practice, you create a foundation of respect and trust that enhances your interactions and deepens your connections. 10. Maintain integrity in all situations. Integrity is the cornerstone of character. It's the silent action that speaks louder than any declaration or promise you could make. When you consistently act with honesty, fairness, and authenticity, you become someone others instinctively trust and value. Integrity isn't just about big, dramatic moments. It's about the everyday choices you make, even when no one is watching. At its essence, integrity means aligning your actions with your values. It's about doing what's right, not because it's easy or convenient, but because it's the right thing to do. This quiet consistency builds a reputation that others respect and admire. People know they can rely on you to keep your word, to stand by your principles, and to treat others with fairness. Think about the relationships in your life. How much of the trust you have in others is based on their integrity? Do they follow through on their commitments? Are their words and actions aligned? Now reflect on yourself. Do you embody those same traits? Integrity is not something you can demand from others. It's something you earn by consistently living it. Stoicism offers profound guidance on integrity. It teaches us to focus on virtues like honesty, courage, and justice, emphasizing that our character is defined by how we act in the face of challenges. A Stoic maintains their principles regardless of external pressures. They resist the temptation to compromise their values for short-term gains, knowing that true strength lies in staying grounded and authentic. Living with integrity often requires making difficult choices. There may be times when the easier path conflicts with your principles, tempting you to stray. For instance, cutting corners at work might bring immediate results, but it erodes trust and damages your reputation over time. Conversely, choosing the harder path, being honest about mistakes, or holding firm to ethical standards demonstrates courage and earns respect. Integrity is also about accountability. When you make a mistake, owning up to it, rather than deflecting blame, shows maturity and strength of character. People value those who can admit their flaws and take steps to correct them. This vulnerability doesn't diminish you. It humanizes you and reinforces your credibility. Another important aspect of integrity is consistency. It's not enough to act with integrity occasionally or when it's convenient. The true measure of your character is how you behave in situations where no one is looking or when there's no immediate benefit to doing the right thing. This quiet steadfastness earns you the trust of others over time, as they see that your principles are not situational but deeply rooted. Integrity also strengthens Stoic relationships by fostering trust and transparency. When people know that your words and actions are reliable, they feel secure in their interactions with you. They don't have to second-guess your intentions or worry about hidden agendas, which allows for deeper and more meaningful connections. In professional settings, integrity enhances your credibility and leadership. Colleagues and clients respect those who can be counted on to deliver honest assessments, follow through on commitments, and act with fairness. These qualities not only elevate your reputation but also create a ripple effect, inspiring others to uphold similar standards. Maintaining integrity is not always easy, especially in a world where shortcuts and compromises can seem tempting. But every time you choose to act with honesty and principle, you strengthen your character and reinforce the value others see in you. It's a quiet yet powerful way of leading by example, showing that true strength lies in standing firm in your values. Ask yourself, am I consistent in my principles even when it's inconvenient? Do my actions align with the values I claim to hold? By reflecting on these questions, you can identify areas where you might improve and recommit to living with integrity. Integrity is not about perfection. It's about striving to be better, even when the path is difficult. It's about showing up as your authentic self and treating others with respect and fairness. When you live with integrity, you build a legacy of trust and respect that far outlasts fleeting accomplishments. It's a silent yet profound action that makes others value you not just for what you do, but for who you are. Mastering these 10 silent actions isn't about becoming someone else. It's about refining the best version of yourself. In a world full of noise and distractions, these quiet yet powerful practices allow you to stand out in ways that truly matter. From observing deeply, listening actively, and cultivating a strong presence, to showing integrity and subtle kindness, these actions aren't just tools. They're ways of living with purpose and intention. When you let your actions speak louder than your words, when you respect boundaries, and when you use silence as a tool for influence, you begin to embody a strength that others can't help but notice. These silent actions create a ripple effect, improving not only your relationships but also the way you view yourself. Through stoicism and self-discipline, you can anchor your life in values that elevate every interaction and connection. But remember, this isn't an overnight transformation. It's a journey of mindful choices and small, consistent steps. Each time you choose to listen rather than interrupt,